In this chair yoga practice, we'll be moving all parts from the toe tips to the ankles, to the knees, to the pelvis, all the way to the crown of the head. Find a chair that's got a nice firm seat to start the practice. Typically in yoga practice, we start from the toes, go to the crown of the head. In chair yoga, since the foundation is in the pelvis, a lot of times we start from the pelvic area, but in this practice, we'll be working with the toes to begin with. So as you look at your toes, with your feet hip distance apart, lift and spread your toes. Now take your toes down and lift your heels up. Again, draw the heels down, lift your toes up. Lift your toes up, draw your toes down, lift your heels up. Keep the base of your toes on the floor and lift up and spread the toes. Toes down, heels are up, heels are down, toes are up. Now see if you can do a little bit more action here in the ankle area. So lift your toes and the base of the toes off the floor. Now take your toes down, lift your heels up. Heels down, this dorsiflexion to get the ankles strong is so important. Draw the toes down, lift the heels up. And again, heels down, toes up, toes are spread. Release your toes down. Now for a little bit more plantar flexion of the feet, draw your right foot to the right side of your chair. So as you do, press your toenails down firmly. See if you can press even more as you get just a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more length on the front side of the foot. Release and come to the opposite side. So shift your weight to the left side of the chair. Reach your left foot back. Press your toenails. Really get active in the toes. Even in that baby toe, can you get a little bit more engagement there? Release out of that and come to the front part of your chair. At the front part of your chair, with your feet together, heel toe the feet to the left, back through the center position, and all the way to the right. So this zigzag movement that we're doing, this gets your ankles a little bit more active as you move from one side to the other side. Keep the movement nice and active. You'll see that it's not a movement that we do very often, so you might tire out. So see if you can just keep it up for a little bit more as we move the feet as far as possible to one side and to the other side. Come back to the center position and have your feet hip distance apart. From here, lift the right leg up and take it down. Now see if you can lift the right leg up, reach the right foot forward, take the right foot back to the floor. Lift your left foot up and take it down. Lift it up and take it down. Lift the left foot up, reach forward and take it down. Again, lift the foot up, reach forward and take it down. So we start to activate the upper leg now. As we begin working with hip mobility, see how far now you can lift up the right foot off the floor and reach the right foot forward, draw it back and take it down. Lift the left knee as high as possible. Reach the left foot forward. Take the left foot down. Again, lift the right knee up. This time, use your hands to see if you can get even more hip flexion. So you reach the right knee as close to the right ribs as possible. From there, on its own power, can you reach the right foot forward, take it down, and slide it in. Lift the left leg up. Again, get as much hip flexion as possible on the left side. Keep your toes active so that as you reach forward and take the foot down, slide it in, you keep the leg as active and engaged as possible. From here, step your feet nice and wide apart. With your feet wide apart, come forward. As you come forward on your sits bones, take your hands down to the floor. With your hands on the floor, walk your fingertips over to the right. Now, if the floor is too far for you, just take your hands right above your knees. But let your heart draw a little bit closer to the floor. Take your hands over to the left again. Take your right hand somewhere to the outer left leg. Take your left hand to your low back and draw your heart toward your left knee. Release your hands down. Step them over to the right leg. Take your left hand somewhere to the outer right leg. With your right hand to the low back, turn your heart toward your right knee. Release your hands back to the floor. Again, hands can be on the knees if that works better for you. With your right hand down, take your left hand to your low back. Turn your heart toward the left side. Maybe even take your left arm up. Release your left hand down. Take your right hand to your low back. Turn your heart toward the right knee. Reach your right arm up. Release your hand down. Place both hands to your low back with your elbows bent. Hug your elbows toward each other. Lift yourself up and heel toe your feet so the feet are now again hip distance apart. We'll do another action to open the hips. So lift your right knee up and see if you can lift it up even higher as we've been working on hip mobility, strength of the muscles that support this action of the hip area. Now take your right foot to the outside of the left knee. So see if you can do that on its own power. If not, then interlace your fingers in front of the shin to allow for more flexibility. Now release your hands and just draw your hands down to the floor. Keep a nice action with the right leg. And inhale, rise up. Take your right hand to your right heel. Draw your left hand behind you. You can hold on to the chair or just take the hand to the low back. Push your right heel into your right hand and resist with your right hand. Push the heel back so that you get a little bit more fullness in your twist. Release out of this twist. Take your left hand somewhere to the outer right thigh. Have your palm open and press back with your hand as you twist in the opposite direction. Now slowly come back to that forward bend that we were in. Draw your hands down. Allow your heart to draw a little bit closer to the right shin. And just kind of notice how that feels. Rise up. Now cradle the right shin. Lift your right foot up. See if you can move while keeping the shin bone as parallel as possible. Move the leg back and forth as a way to just get a nice lubrication of the pelvic area. Now release your right foot down. Let's do the same with the left side. So lift your left knee up and take the foot to the outer right knee. Now again, use your hands if the mobility of the left side could use a little assistance. Release your hands and just draw yourself into forward bend. Have your left foot very active. You'll know it's active if you see the toes try to spread away from each other. Lift yourself up. Take your left hand to the left heel. Push the left heel into your hand and resist with your left hand. Push it back. Take your right hand to your low back. Turn your heart toward the right side. Keep on pushing the leg so the leg stays very active in this pose. Come back to the center position. Now take your right hand somewhere to that outer left thigh. Push the back of the hand nicely as you open the chest, as you open the fingers so they get this nice engagement of the full arm from the fingertips all the way to the shoulders. Now release out of this twist. Release your arms. Allow your weight to draw forward. Breathe in deep and out long. And rise up. Now cradle your shin bone. So if that involves holding onto the ankle, holding onto the shin, some of you might even be able to take your arms underneath the shin bone, but if that's not so comfortable, just do it in a way that serves you nicely. And as much as possible, get the shin parallel to the floor. Just move side to side. And we're going through the full body in this chair yoga practice. A lot of times we just focus on one particular part of the body, but from toes all the way to the crown of the head, we're going to get some nice movements going on. Release your foot down, all the way down so the feet are parallel to each other. Now let's move from the hip to the sides of our body and the front of the body as a way to get the spine a little bit more active. Place your hands at your knees or the thighs somewhere. With your hands on the legs, engage the legs by pulling back from the heels toward your chair legs. Pull back to engage the hamstrings, and through that you'll start to create more awareness to the lumbar curve. Keep that. Lift your chin, draw the heads of the arm bones back so you open the upper chest. Now exhale, and it's almost like you're pushing in an isometric fashion your feet away from the chair legs. See if you can do more action just by engaging the legs. Pull the heels toward the chair legs. Lift your chest, take the heads of the arm bones back. Exhale, push the feet, again, isometrically. They're not really moving, but you're just keeping the legs active. Push them forward, and now pull them back as you open the chest and get quite a bit of lumbar curve. And exhale, The legs stay very active. The feet are pushing forward. Now inhale and lift yourself up. Come to the very front of the chair. Hold on either to the chair seat or the chair back, whichever works for you. Lift up your right leg, take it down. Lift up your left, take it down. Lean back so that you're supported by the chair back. Lift up the right and take it down. Notice how you're engaging the abdominal muscles. Left lifts up, right lifts up, left lifts up. Take the right leg up and down, and the left leg up and down. Now hug the knees in toward each other. Hug the inner big toes toward each other. See if you can lift your feet up and down, and lift up, take them down. Lift up and take them down. Lift up, see about reaching your right foot forward and take it down, release down. Lift your feet up, keep hugging the inner knees toward each other, reaching the left foot forward, take it down. Lift your feet up, reach forward, hug in, take it down. Lift the feet up, left foot forward, and take it down. So you start to notice how you engage your abdominal muscles nicely. Lift away from the back of the chair, sit tall. Just allow a nice ease to your breath. Nice full in-breath through the nose. And out-breath through the nose. 2 more. Breathe in. Breathe out long. Breathe in. Breathe out long. Now let's stretch through the sides of the body. Step wide with your pelvis right at the front part of the chair seat. Take your left foot a little bit further than your right. Turn your right toes out. Lift yourself up to come to Warrior Two pose. Virabhadrasana 2 it's called. Take the right forearm down. Reach your left arm up and over your head. See if you can get a little bit more fullness to your breath. And see if you can turn your heart toward the sky. Maybe even get your left arm out of the view of the ceiling as you reach your gaze up and your arm over your head. Now inhale and rise up. Come to parallel feet. Before turning your left foot out, extend your right leg a little bit longer. On your next inhale, reach your arms up. Have a nice fullness to your breath. Take your left forearm down to the top of the thigh. Reach your right arm up and over your head for lots of length in the pose. Breathe in to the side body. Lift your underside ribs up. Take your right arm back a little bit more so that you can find this fullness in the pose. Inhale, rise up to come out of the pose. Heel toe your feet in toward each other. From here, we'll work on the shoulders, the heads of the arm bones, the top of the humerus. As you lift the top of the arms up, you feel this contraction in the neck area. So instead, use the length that we just got through the side body stretch. See if you can lift up through the side body, Take the heads of the arm bones back. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Press your knuckles to the low back. Heel toe your feet a little bit wider. Turn your right toes out. Straighten your left leg, keeping the knuckles to your low back. Draw your heart down toward your right knee. See if you can just free your interlaced fingers from your low back. Reach back as you draw down. Inhale, rise up. Come to the opposite side. First, parallel your feet. Turn your left toes out. Walk your right foot back. Hug your elbows in with your finger knuckles pressing the low back to begin with. Draw down, keeping your elbows hugging in. Now lift your interlaced fingers away from your low back. Draw down a little bit deeper. Inhale, rise up. Release your hands to the chair seat. With your hands to the chair seat or the chair back, you get this nice fullness to the chest. Upper chest expands so fully. Now exhale, draw from the navel back. Again, lift the chest. Draw from the navel back toward the spine. Keeping this engagement with the hands to the chair seat. See if you can now lift the pelvis off the chair seat. Keep your hands on the chair seat. Lift the pelvis up. Release the pelvis down. Depending on the chair, maybe you can take your hands back so that the fingers are now directed in the opposite direction that the toes are. So inhale, you lift the pelvis up. Exhale down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale down. Release out of the pose. With the hands to the low back, interlace your fingers. Now draw your interlaced fingers over toward your right side. Squeeze your right elbow in toward the left elbow. Draw your heart forward and slightly down as you keep on squeezing the elbows toward each other. Inhale, rise up. With the fingers interlaced, take the interlaced fingers over to the left side and squeeze the elbows in toward each other. If you feel like your forearm is taking your belly forward, draw back from the navel back toward the spine. Get a nice tone in the muscles of the abdominal area. Draw down, keep squeezing the elbows in toward each other, and rise up. Gives you a nice opening in this upper chest area. Now let's continue to move toward the crown of the head with a stretch to the neck. Come forward on your chair seat. Let the left hand hold on to the chair seat. Have your right hand resting on the top of your thigh as you pull as if lifting up the chair seat with your left hand. Draw your right ear a little bit closer to your right shoulder. Close your eyes. Just kind of notice as you pull the chair seat up and draw your right ear a little bit closer to your right shoulder. You start to feel a lengthening quality to the left side of the neck. Now draw your chin a little bit closer to your right collarbone. Don't go too deep in these neck stretches. Just come to that place where you're aware of the actions. You're aware of these neck muscles. You're aware of the engagement of your left hand pulling up. Now, lift your head up and release your hand from the chair seat and just turn your gaze over your right shoulder and notice how it's so much easier to move the neck very freely on that side. So let's even it out a bit. Take your right hand to the chair seat. You're pulling up with the right hand. Now draw your left ear a little bit closer to your left shoulder. Pull up, so it's a strong action with the right hand as you draw the left ear closer to the left shoulder. Then draw your chin a little bit closer to your left collarbone. Keep your attention to your breath. Inhale and lift your head up. Now turn your head to look over your left shoulder as you release your right hand. And just notice the freedom there. Take your head back to center. Take your right hand on the crown of your head. As if you could get taller, you're pressing your hand onto the crown of the head. You're lifting your head into the palm of your hand. Keep that as if growing just a little bit taller. Notice how you have to very much engage your legs. You're pressing down to get nice fullness in the engagement all the way from the toes to the crown of the head. Now draw your right ear a little bit closer to your right shoulder. Release your left hand down toward the floor. Make a fist with your left hand. Take your left hand behind your back. First to the left side of the pelvis. Maybe you can even move it to the right side. Your hand is not trying to outperform your neck muscles here. It's just a little urging that the right hand is doing to move the right ear a little bit closer to the right shoulder. Now lift your head up and release your hands back to the tops of the thighs and just easily take your gaze over, and maybe you can move your head a little bit more than the last time that we looked to the right. Come back to the center position. Take your left hand to the crown of the head. Spread your fingers. And again, not too much force. Just draw your left ear a little bit closer to the left shoulder. As you free your right hand, just let the weight of the hand help to elongate and create more space between your right ear and your right shoulder. Make a fist with your right hand. Now reach your right fist a little bit closer to the earth. Keep your legs very active. Again, the heels are pulling in toward the chair legs as you do this. Draw your right fist behind your back somewhere, maybe just to the right side of the pelvis. Some of you perhaps can slide it over to the left side. Keep on working your head into the palm of the hand. Little resistance, but not too much resistance with your hand. Maybe even draw your chin a little bit closer to your chest. Now release your hands and lift your head up. Place your hands right at the tops of the thighs and look toward your left side. And again, just notice, do you feel like you've got a little bit more freedom there? Come back to the center position. Heel toe your feet a little bit wider with your hands right above your knees. Bow forward. In yoga, this is a nice honoring gesture here. Just allow yourself to honor your practice. Lift yourself up, heel toe your feet back to that hip distance apart alignment. Now scoot yourself back on your chair seat. Have your spine be supported. Close your eyes. Just find a nice ease in your breath. In this practice, we started at the tips of the toes, went to the ankles, the knee, the pelvic area, the abdominals, the right side ribs, the left side ribs, the shoulders, the neck muscles, all the way from the toes to the crown of the head. Just explore different moves. Now with the breath, see how the ease of the breath, but yet finding fullness, finding a certain rhythm to your breath. Can you engage with a bit more fullness, yet have the outer body feel very much at ease, while you stoke that inner fire through your breath. Attuned to the sound of the breath, to the rhythm of the breath. And honor yourself for completing the practice. In the tradition of the yoga practice, we take our hands in front of the heart to say, Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me in the practice.